Are you enjoying the Mindset Playground? Well, visit my website at louannehunt.ca. That's louannehunt.ca. And find out about all of my guests, my upcoming guests, my past guests, and also sign up for my free Insiders Club. That's where you're going to get information sent to you through email about tips and tricks and all kinds of good stuff about living from the inside out. So I can't wait to see you there on the Mindset Playground. And don't forget to visit my website at louannehunt.ca. Hey everyone, welcome to the Mindset Playground, where you're going to get your daily dose of positivity. And I'm your host, LouAnne Hunt. And I am so excited that you have joined me today on the playground because I have such a fun show. I say it's fun. I know a lot of it is going to be kind of heavy when it comes to talking about neuroscience, but I have to tell you, I love neuroscience. I love knowing why I do the things that I do and how I can stop doing the things that I do, like overthinking. And today, my good friend Ursula is going to come to the stage or to the playground, and we're going to play. We're going to figure out what all these little things are. So, welcome, Ursula, to the Mindset Playground. How are you doing today?
Oh, thank you, Luann. I'm doing very well, and I really like your perspective on fun and the playground. And it's sort of interesting what I have found when I talk about neuroscience and transformation and how it's connected to my work in terms of coaching leaders and training. People always get a little like, ooh, neuroscience, ooh. Eh, but it's not an ooh, it's a really fun, the brain is a fun playground. When you know how the different parts of your brain interact with each other, the insights and the power of that is just amazing. So, in many ways, the brain is a playground with all these different things in there that we will find on the playground. So, it's perfect.
Wow, that's so exciting. And it's just that's the whole thing about the Mindset Playground. When I set it up and when I named it, I was going back to reminiscing on my childhood.
Mm.
And, my big thing was the merry-go-round. And I relate that to adulthood so
Yes.
much because a couple of reasons. Number one, the freedom. I used to ride the merry-go-round for like hours. And the freedom of just spinning and just letting the wind blow through your hair, and dreaming of things or watching the clouds. But the other side of it is you can ride a merry-go-round so much easier and faster when there's other people to help you
Mm.
push the merry-go-round. And as other people are working with you, we all work in unison to enjoy the same ride.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting the merry-go-round in terms of the brain, where I thought you were going was actually thinking of, there's so many things happening in our brain in terms of thinking and repetitive thoughts. That can sometimes be the merry-go-round that's not so fun because it keeps it keeps us
Spinning.
spinning, yeah. And if you've ever been on a merry-go-round where people are actually pushing you too hard and you say, let me get off, I want to get off. And that sometimes feels like the brain. It's like spinning, spinning, spinning at a dizzying speeds. And the question is, how do we get off that? How do we get off that merry-go-round that just makes us dizzy?
Yeah. Well, actually, that just like leads us into, the first question that I wanted to ask you because this is so interesting and I just love it. So, a lot of people have to worry about breaking out of old patterns and forge new neural pathways. So, what's one common mental loop? And that's perfect for the playground merry-go-round
Yes,
is that
yes.
mental loop because it keeps spinning and spinning.
Hmm.
Now, a lot of these, they talk about high achievers, but it's everyday people
Yes,
that experience this as well. But there's a lot of high achievers that might keep them stuck.
yes.
So how can they begin to rewire it? How can we begin to rewire it?
Yeah, no, it's a really good point that you're raising. High achiever or not, we have internal conversations with ourselves, and basically, that all it might sound different for every person, but it's sort of like I am not fill in the blank enough. That's the merry-go-round that can keep us spinning. I'm not organized enough. I am not productive enough. I am not a good leader. I am not fill in the blank enough. I'm not an expert in this. So I think whether you're a high achiever, call yourself a high achiever or not, I think we all have this inner critic in our head that is the merry-go-round that can keep us spinning. And so in my work, really, when it comes to whether it's brain, emotions, leadership capabilities, the first thing is always awareness. It's really asking. So ask yourself, okay, when I'm on this merry-go-round of I'm not fill in the blank enough, what is it? What do you feel you're not good at? Or what is this internal voice that keeps saying, there is a limit to you, or, whatever it might be? And that awareness can take us to the other side of the merry-go-round, where the merry-go-round then starts slowing down. And then, as the merry-go-round slows down in terms of our processing and how we process the emotion that arises from there, once that slows down, we can get off the merry-go-round. We can step off it and say, okay, if that is the message that I'm getting, what is it pointing me to? So in my work, I don't actually believe that the limiting beliefs, or, it's also sometimes called saboteur, gremlin, all of that. I don't actually think they're a bad thing. They are just a voice. They are part of us. And, there's some train of thoughts that is like you need to get rid of them. Some coaching schools teach that you need to send them on vacation or lock them in a closet. In my work, it's really, there is a message here. It wouldn't say, or you wouldn't think about this if it wouldn't be useful. So instead of staying on this merry-go-round of, I'm not good enough, I'm not this enough, it's step off it and go, okay, there's a message here. What am I about to learn from this? What is it pointing me to? So then we can integrate this other part of us that we feel we want to get rid of. But in my work, it's about integration. It's all integrating. These are puzzle pieces that you want to pull out and you want to bring back in here with compassion and kindness and go, okay, if I'm thinking I'm not good enough or not strong enough or not compassionate enough, what does it actually mean? And how then do I want to listen to this message that brings me to potentially changing something? So this
Right.
then brings me to neural pathways, because the negative merry-go-round in your head, in the voice, that's just a very well-formed neural pathway that is potentially a superhighway. So again, you need to slow down, you know, take the exit of that superhighway, and then think about, okay, what is a new pathway that I want to create that will take more intention and attention, because the brain is not used to thinking in this way. And then once you're there going like, okay, this is what I want to change, the rest is just practice and repetition, because over time, the brain will use that metaphorical dirt road that you're building with this unknown or unpracticed habit, and it will create a stronger and stronger neural pathway connection. So if you're feeling sort of off or you're having, some doubts, know it has a message. Know it is
Okay.
part of you. Know it's part most likely of a neural pathway that's been built potentially since childhood or for 10, 20, 30 years, depending how long you've been around. And that is just your brain's way of giving you a message that something is no longer working. And what do you want to replace this with? And over time, the brain will, create that dirt road and make it stronger so that it will become more of a new and more comfortable habit.
Wow, that's so interesting. And I'm sure that I know that in some of your talks and also in your work that you speak about the concept of extended mind, and it sounds to me like this is where you're leading when it comes to that dirt road or that path, right?
Yeah.
And so our thinking expands beyond our brain into relationships and environments. And
Yes.
how does that get affected because of the way that we are using our extended minds?
Well, you described it so well when you were talking about the merry-go-round, and that when people are on it and they help us, make it spin and create balance, it's more fun. Uh, you were actually already alluding to the fact that we are better with other people. And in many ways, it's what you do in the podcast, because right now we are extending our mind with each other and to each other. Your questions prompt something in my brain, which then prompts something in your brain. So we are no longer alone struggling with a thought or an idea or a project or a dilemma. We are now going, okay, I'm holding it all in here. I need to extend it out there. So it frees up some space. Think about your computer or your phone. It needs space in order to operate really well. And so in the modern day, just think about everything that comes at us, like every single day, emails and the news, social media, our calendars, the family. I mean, there's so much. There comes a time when the brain simply is overloaded and can't process information well anymore. So we can take some of the things that are in here and extend it to someone else who can then help us brainstorm, find a better solution, also check in with our bias. We have an opinion on something. And if you don't have another person to sort of share this with, our biases can sort of go undetected. So, for example, I have just a wonderful, beloved business partner. We've known each other for 25 years. She is my automatic go-to in terms of extending the mind. So I was leading a course this morning, and a participant asked me a question about values and integrating values. And she said, well, if you have two conflicting values, the way it sounds like is you're compromising. In order to have both, you need to compromise. And I said, no, it's not a compromise, is giving the values each enough airtime. There needs to be a balance. It's not about, okay, if I do less of this, then I can do more of that. Is looking at both values and going, no, I can have both in equal measure. And when the course was done, the call was done, I was sort of contemplating this, and it was in my brain. And I thought, was this the right answer? Am I right? Is it a compromise? I mean, really good question. And so I text my business partner and said, context, values, question. Is it integration or is it a compromise? Are we compromising? Because I needed to get this out of my head. It was stuck in there. And her immediate response was, no, it's not a compromise. We need to integrate these two values. So it's a yes and, not a yes but.
Ah,
And then I went like, that's what I said. Okay, thank you. It became clear, something that was fuzzy in here. I wasn't sure. I extended my mind to Anne. the response came back and it was like, yep, that's completely clear. That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. So extending the mind can help us on so many levels, with doubts, with clarity, with new ideas. And we are wired from, evolution. We are wired to be in community. We are not wired to be soloists. We are wired to be in connection. We are wired to be with other people. That's our connection to tribal, to community that date back thousands of years. So extending the mind is choosing another human being that you trust, that you are connected to, and sharing what's in your brain and offloading it so that they can help you with a variety of solutions, whatever it might be. So that's extending the mind to someone else. Now, environment is interesting. So I'm curious, when you do your podcast, you have this environment. When you do other work, do you go to a different space?
You mean like in my office? Like
Yep,
I'm
in
in
your
my
office or
office.
in your house. Do you change location? And what does it do for you?
Well, I have to say that most of the work is done here in the office, but every once in a while, I will sit at my dining room table because
Mm-hmm.
it's in front of a huge window. I
Mm-hmm.
can look out, it's beautiful light, and but I can't do anything professional. Well, maybe I could, but I look at it as this is my professional setting. And whereas in front of that window, I do work on my laptop, but it's just work where I'm not meeting with somebody else. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just maybe at my laptop, maybe checking my email or, writing an email, something to that effect.
Yeah.
Or
It's a
yeah,
different experience, right?
absolutely.
It's a different energy. And it's funny that you say that because I have exactly the same thing. I'm in my office when I coach, train, I do emails. Every now and again, I take my laptop and go downstairs, have the same thing, beautiful windows overlooking a pond, the dogs downstairs. I see the ducks. There is a different energy there. There is a little bit, it feels like I have more access to creativity. It's not as sort of externally focused, it's not as intense. I'm more
Yes.
relaxed down there. And so when I need to access that energy, I change environment because my body, everybody's body, wires in this feeling of, oh, here I am. This means work. This means focus now. And when we go to a different spot, either a couch with a pillow or being with a dog and looking out the window, now the brain and your body go, oh, we're now more relaxing. So
Hmm.
every time we change environment, indoors, outdoors, different space in the house, even just changing positions at your desk, the brain and the body connect that to a different experience. So we have different energy. And so for leaders that work in the corner office or whatever, getting out of there when you need a different kind of energy, when you need to access something different, change location.
Ah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's so true because it does really make a difference. And I don't know, maybe I should try doing one of my podcasts. It probably would be a lot more natural, a lot more fun. It would be
I
relaxing.
mean, it could be, maybe certain topics lend themselves more to that environment. And it's even interesting that the brain even processes things like artwork and books on the shelf. So that the history of us, our certificates, the little, the pictures that we have, you have the picture of my granddaughters in the back and the flowers and all of that. And so the brain connects that to a certain way of being and processing information. And when I go downstairs and I sit at the dining room, there's different things my eyes are looking at. And so the brain makes different connections. And that
Ah,
can be extremely useful. I work with some clients who are writers, and they take their notebook or computer, they go to a coffee shop because they need the noise, they need the energy of other humans. And for some people, it's like, oh my gosh, no, coffee shop, that's way too distracting. I'm going to go into my little corner office and close the door. Different things for different brains, different things for different bodies. And so test out, if I change location, if I go to a different room, what's happening? What's happening in my body? How does my body react to the change of scenery? And that will give you a clue what's needed and what you can access in terms of a different experience.
interesting. That's very interesting. I
And
have
by the way, sorry to interrupt. By the way, we're talking about the book, The Extended Mind by Annie Murphy Paul. So if you're listening to this podcast, I highly recommend Annie Murphy Paul's book on the extended mind. The research is fabulous. The stories she's telling, amazing. Much of the research is done in schools and colleges
wow. Well,
because it's about learning, right? How
right.
do we learn better in a different environment?
That's very interesting
Mm-hmm.
because if you put yourself in a separate environment, then it's possible that you're going to reach a whole different I will reach a whole different clientele
Yeah.
or yeah, interesting. Very interesting. So, the other question, and what I'll do, by the way, is I will put that link below in the description so that if
Okay.
anybody who's listening to this, if they want to go back and look it up, they'll be able to check it out on the website. And
That's great.
yes, of
Yes.
course. So you work deeply with organizations impacted by relational trauma. This is interesting. So, how can understanding neuroscience help a team or culture heal and move from reactivity to resilience? You and I had talked about trauma before and how it freezes you.
Oh, so
And
impact,
mm,
huge, huge on the brain and on the body. The toxicity of leaders that are toxic is substantial. The research shows that it is underreported. Um, there are way more toxic leaders than we think they are, and the impact on their leadership, mindset, outlook, the actions they take has a huge negative impact on our cognitive function, our cognitive processing. It has a huge impact on the body because the body will remember. There is again, a great book called The Body Keeps the Score, really looking into, okay, if I've been in a toxic environment for X amount of time, this is the impact on my brain and on my body. So this is obviously a very complex and deep topic that would require a whole other 5 hours.
podcast.
However, um, since we are on the playground, I think we've been on the merry-go-round as a metaphor. I'm going to look at another item on the playground, which is a slide.
Okay.
Every decent playground should have a slide. And I think what happens in terms of toxicity in any system, whether it's organization, family, community, church, dare I say it, um, it's really looking at the impact of human beings that are toxic on the system. So think about you're standing at the top of the slide on the playground. You've walked up the ladder, you're at the top of the slide, and you're looking down and you're realizing something isn't quite right. You're not feeling right, but you don't know what it is. You just know that something isn't quite right. You can't put your finger on it. And over time, what will happen, you most likely will go and sit down and you will slide down. And over time, the longer you are in a toxic environment, the further down the slide you will go until your brain and your body will hit rock bottom.
Ah,
So the 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 knowledge, so if you feel something isn't quite right, and you get this feeling from supervisor, leader, colleague, friend, partner, whoever, are they rigid? Are they conflictual? Are they antagonistic?
mm,
And is it not just because they had a bad day? Trust me, I can be antagonistic if I'm stressed and I'm frustrated and I had a bad day or a bad week. It's momentary. It's a moment. It is not a pattern. So as it relates to toxic behavior in terms of, being sort of manipulative and antagonistic and self-righteous and all of that, yeah, as I said, we all have a bad day. But if it is a pattern, then you need to pay attention. But because if it shows up as a consistent pattern, then there is something in the system, there's something with this person that points to a dysfunction. And that will have an impact on you, on your brain, and on your body over long periods of time. Now, how can we heal? That depends. Is the system open to healing? Because
right,
what healing requires is first looking at what's toxic here. Without the awareness, this is the toxicity that is this in the system, and this is who is creating it. If we don't know where it's coming from, there is really there. How can you heal from something if the piece of meat in the stew, to just use another metaphor,
yeah,
is a bad piece of meat? You'll have a stew that you can't eat. So it
right,
doesn't matter whether you change the peas and the potatoes. If the piece of meat is the piece that's making the stew bad, what do you have to do? You have to get rid of the piece of meat. And then you
right,
have a stew that has the potential to become better. So healing trauma in organizations really requires a huge amount of awareness, a huge amount of courage in terms of leadership, getting rid of people that are toxic, and not buying into the excuses that
right,
often we have about leaders. Oh, it's just the way they are. Or they have to be charismatic. They have to be out there. They have to be that loud. They have to be that in. No, they don't. If the impact on the system is that people are scared, doubting themselves, feeling belittled, criticized, then there's something in the stew that makes the stew not edible. And so
right,
pay attention. And then the question is, what are you wanting? What are the choices that you have, that you can have? I have my oldest daughter worked in a very toxic organization a couple of years ago. And when she realized that it was the CEO that was creating this, the choice was, should I stay or should I leave? Can I have an impact on the system? The answer was no, because he was the CEO. So the higher up that person is, they have more power. If you think about it, they have more
yes,
influence. So the answer was, I can't. I have to leave, and I have to leave, as quickly as I can, and do it in a way that also brings about some honesty to the people that are still in the system. I'm going to let them know why I'm leaving.
Right.
So it was a very hard decision, but at the time it was the only way for her to take care of herself.
And that's the key right there.
Yeah,
At the end of the day,
yeah,
you have to take care of yourself.
yes,
No
yes,
matter what the situation is,
yeah,
whether it's a parent, a relative,
yeah,
a close family member, a friend,
yeah,
a coworker, a boss, it
yeah,
doesn't matter.
yeah,
At the end of the day, you are number one.
yeah. And you know that because, you've gone through some of that. It's nervous system regulation. Our nervous system is sensitive to stress, toxicity, input of negativity, negative emotions coming at us, judgment. Our nervous system gets unstable. And so you need to take care of your nervous system, because if you don't, you'll actually not be useful to anyone. And so if you want to bring your love and your light into the world, just as you said, you need to take care of your nervous system. That will enable you to be the true light and authentic you that you can be. But if your nervous system is dysregulated, you will really lose capacity.
Right. And not to be too deep, but that is so true. And it just like for example, you seem to combine that neuroscience with the intuition and the heart and the body wisdom,
Yeah.
like what we're talking about
Yeah.
here. And some might seem like it's kind of opposites, but how do these worlds come together in a real world that we live in?
Yeah. Yeah, no, really, a really good question, because it's rather unfortunate. I think in the Western culture, we have been socialized and trained to do this, to
Yeah.
process everything from here to here. And then the rest of us, the body, the gut, the heart, is sort of like, that's for other people. That's soft skills. That's woo-woo and all of
Yeah.
that. That has no place in the work environment. Here it's about productivity. I'm telling you, that is such a myth. The research shows that 90%, 90% of all information, especially new information and new insights, come from the body to the brain. We have a super highway of connection in the body called the vagus nerve. And that the vagus nerve is connected to all the major organs, and it sends information from the body into the brain. It's not the other way around. Your body is the first go-to place in terms of, how do I feel? So, to your question, it's a system. It's not isolated. It's not just the brain and not just the heart and not just the body. It's everything. It's a connective system. And I think our job in this world at this time is to redefine and find again the connection between our smart brain, the tender heart, and the body that is so in tune with how we're feeling. And your heart doesn't want to be ignored, and your body doesn't want to be ignored. It again has a voice, and we need to tune into it and give it credit, rather than saying, oh yeah, no, it's just my gut feeling. No, it is your gut feeling. It's telling you something. So listen
Yeah.
to it. And then extend the mind and share it with someone. Say, I have a funny feeling about this. What do you think? I have a gut feeling that something is not quite right here. I need to check this out with you.
My last guest said that your gut will send you a message. So don't send it to voicemail. I
Yeah,
thought that was so great.
that
That's
is
so true.
great. That is so true. Yes, it's same with your heart. Your heart is telling you something. It doesn't want to be sent to voicemail where it sits there probably forevermore and you're never going to listen to it. So trust your system that is so powerful and wise, that is constantly wanting you to pay attention. And ignoring it is not useful. It's also really unhealthy.
Right, that's for sure. So, for those who are listening and they feel disconnected from their purpose or unsure what's next, this is a big thing, especially with people who are experiencing something completely new in their life, such as maybe they're an empty nester, they've just retired, or maybe it's something that wasn't a big event, but they just didn't expect it. Like, somebody who's worked so long at college or university and they graduate, and after all that work, they can't find a job. So
Yeah,
the big question is, now what? Now
I
what?
know.
Now what do I do?
I
So,
mean, I know this is going to sound funny, but my first answer to that question is you need to hire a coach.
ah,
And
yeah,
I tell you why.
yes.
It's extended mind.
Ah,
People, this it's very hard to figure out what meaning is, what meaning is for you in your life, what your purpose might be, what your values are that you want to honor in your life that bring you to fulfillment. And then what are some action steps and how do I stay accountable to myself? That is very hard to do when you're doing it on your own. I mean,
yeah.
there's online programs in terms of, figuring out meaning and purpose and values, but without the interaction, the other brain of another human being who is trained to hold space for you, to point you with questions that you don't think about yourself, that is a key aspect of going to what is next. And I see this not only in my life, but I see this certainly in my clients who are often at some kind of transition. My husband retired or semi-retired almost now 7 years ago. And he didn't have a coach. I mean, he had me, but how that goes, coaching family members, not a good idea. Um, but I sort of prompted him saying, well, what's important to you and what's fun? You're semi-retiring, you're out of this, 45-year career. Um, you know, like what would be fun for you? What's the experience you want to have now? These are not questions that he sort of would come up by himself. And so he dabbled in various things, and there were things he failed at and things that didn't work. And he tried that for a year and it didn't work. And then over time, as he was experimenting, he landed on a really good structure of how he could do retirement his way. That gives him meaning, it gives him purpose, it's fun, it's not stressful, and he can also support me because I work a lot. And so I have this other wonderful person now that has the time to make me coffee and empty the dishwasher.
That's the best part.
That's the best part when you have someone who's semi-retired. So it's really, and I'm really not kidding, hire a coach because they will help you find some sense of direction, but also will hold you accountable to what is next. This is the next step I'm taking. This is the resume I'm rewriting. This is an interview I'm doing. There will be this question, how did it go? How did it work? What did you learn? What do you want to do differently next time? So you are constantly learning and shifting, and going, and this person will help you find a sense of direction. Now,
Right.
if you don't want to hire a coach, it's too bad, but if you don't, then find a human being that is not judgmental, but is simply curious and can, extend your mind. Find a buddy, find someone you really trust. and go to them and say, you know, I need help with figuring this out. Now, without going into self-promotion, I actually have a assessment called the Core Passion Assessment. And so this assessment I use with people that are in transition and are sort of looking for, I'm not so sure what I'm passionate about, I'm not so sure what I'm really good at. And so that can also help, whether it's core passion assessment or any other assessment that can point you in the direction of meaning and purpose. So basically, bottom line here is find resources that help you with clarity if you are not clear. If you are clear, then it's just a matter of doing, okay, here is a timeline, here are the first 2-3 steps that I need to take in the direction of where I want to go. The
Yes,
other,
that's so true. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, the other thing is create a vision board.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, here is my dream life. You don't go to logistics or this is unreasonable. Creative vision board that is energetically aligned with your deepest desires and dreams. And then from there, you can look at these aspects and go, well, I might not be able to live in Hawaii full time, but how can I have the experience of ocean and relaxation and freedom and space, even if I can't move to Hawaii and live there full time? What is that experience telling me? So vision boards are a great way to sort of extract the information that helps with clarity. And they're fun. They're super fun. I love vision
Oh,
boards.
yes. And that's in my new course. So,
Oh,
yeah,
great.
I know. So that's the course that I'm coming out with, and I have a free master class coming up in October, and there'll be some more in November as well. So yeah, it's definitely, and it's all about the playground. It's all about playing. So for sure,
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
like the word workshop. I like the word fun shop or
Yes.
play shop.
Yes. Yes. I think you're right. I mean, it's funny. Uh, you know, we in my work we talk about the 7 keys to neuroplasticity, the 7 keys to change. Fun, humor, and play is one of the keys.
So true.
And novelty, relationship, focus and attention, those are all keys to help people really, really create sustainable change. And it's interesting that fun, humor, and play is part of that.
The other thing is storytelling. I'm a
Mm.
huge storyteller. I love hearing about other people's successes, and I like to tell people about other people's successes. And it just really helps you kind of a lot of things people just didn't even realize. And if I can give you one example,
Yes,
did you
please.
know that Colonel Sanders was in his late 60s when he got his first pension check, which was $100, and because he decided to retire. And so he decided that he was going to take his chicken recipe, which was doing so well, and he received 1,009 no's to his secret recipe before one person took a chance on him and said, yes. And that changed his life. But it's just
Amazing. And I really, really love that example because it really points to neuroplasticity. You can have 100, no, I can't, no, I can't, no, I can't, no, they won't. And it just takes one little insight, one person who goes like, no, you can. And that one, yes, you can really, that can change everything.
changes your life completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that just saying yes to yourself. Now, if I could just back up real quick about that
Mm.
vision board, one of the things that's kind of fun because, it's interesting because I like to go and I like to put vision board classes together and we all get together and we do vision boards and we have fun with it. But my husband, like your husband, they don't think beyond that, the everything is black or white with them, it seems sometimes. And I said, I really want to go down to the Friendship Center, which is a senior center. And I said, I want to do a vision board class. And he
Mm,
says, well, they're all retired. And, he says, they're not going to have a vision because they've already lived their vision.
mm,
I said, well, I don't know about that. But anyway, so I said, well, I'm going to change it. I said, we're going to do a joy board. So I told them, I said, I want you to think of everything that brings you joy. What do
mhm.
you like? Is it your flowers in the garden? Is it your grandchildren? Is it your children? Like, what really makes you smile and brings you joy? Something that you look forward to. And it was so much fun because a lot of them put their grandchildren on their vision boards, and then they were holding them up, and they were like, oh, and this is little Sally, and this is when she was 5, and now look at her, this is when she graduated. And so they were just so excited. And
I
yeah.
love that. I love that. And in many ways, a vision board is a joy board because we put on there all the things that we love and we want to create and we that give us joy. I mean, that is in many ways a vision board is a joy board because that's what should be on there. The things that really make you smile and is your happy place. Whether you currently have that already in your life or whether it's a vision towards that joy. And so I love that.
Yeah.
It's your journey towards that joy. And then from there you can bring it back to today and say, okay, if I'm here now and I'm looking at the joy board, how can I get from here to there? What are the steps I need? And so yeah, I love that. A joy board.
Yep.
I need to do one for next year, I think, for 2026. It's always a good thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And a money board. We all
Money
should
board.
have a
Well,
money board.
money is on the joy board.
I
Money
actually have
gives
a
me
money
joy.
board. Yeah, exactly.
Ah,
Oh my goodness, this has been so much fun. Thank you
yes.
so much for stopping by. Now, before we finish, I always ask my clients or my guests for 3 golden nuggets to leave the audience with. So, what would
Mm.
your 3 golden nuggets be?
Oh my goodness, 3 golden nuggets from all of this. Okay. Neuroplasticity and change. Be patient. Change is hard. But it's brain related. So don't give yourself a hard time if it feels hard. It's just neuroplasticity. If you keep at it, something good will happen. Don't give up. It's just your brain wanting you to travel along that super highway. You're building a dirt road that is going to take some time. Be patient and compassionate with yourself. Extended mind. Pick your favorite person on the planet and have them be your extended brain because you will feel so much better. You will get so much inspiration. It will help with so many questions that you might have. So choose your favorite person on this earth to have them be your extended brain. Um, get outside more because the nature environment will also help you release some of the pressure that is in here. And then joy board, play, fun. Know that it is a key element for us as humans. Life is serious and life can be really hard, but don't forget to look at play and what gives you joy. It's really, really important.
Wow, those are some great nuggets. Well, Ursula, I know that you have a podcast,
I
so I'm
do.
going to put the link for your podcast in the description below as well, so they can listen to more of this amazing neuroscience, which I'm sure there's a lot. Is there a lot weaved into yours as well?
Yes, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wonderful.
it's either I have invited people onto my podcast or just as in this case, it's it's conversations with Ursula. So this podcast will also be on my website. So
Oh, thank you.
yeah, pass it on. If you liked what you heard between the two of us, then make sure that you like it, make a comment, pass it on.
Wonderful. I'll make sure that all of that information is below. And until the next time, because I know there will be a next time, and
I hope
probably
so.
many times after that. Thank
I
you
hope
so
so.
much.
And you too. Thanks so much. Just an amazing human being. I so enjoy you. So thank you for inviting me and sharing this hour with me. I really appreciate it, and I hope the listeners are enjoying it just as much as I have. So again, thank you and have a great week.
Yes, you too. And sorry about my boys in the background, but when we're talking about stuff that's so powerful, I know
Hmm.
they can sense it. And so they say hello as well.
That's
But
great.
anyway, thank
Okay,
you so
take
much.
care. Yes. Bye bye.